This is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Philippi, and my guest today is Scott Carl. Scott is a local photographer, artist, and he's also the president, of the Yamhill Valley Camera Club. So welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited to hear all about your work.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
I've been doing photography for probably 30 plus years now, so it's time to get it out there. It's time to turn it into something more fun than just a hobby.
Okay. So sort of what prompted that?
Well, actually, I was laid off back in 2006, and at that point, we decided to open up a studio in Carlton, and we had a studio there for 2.5 years in that zone. And the economy did what it did, so we took the business back to our house. So we're still doing it, we're just not doing it from a studio location anymore.
Okay. So that's more like commercial or wedding photography, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we do weddings and portraiture and senior pictures and things like that.
And then, but you've also decided to branch out into more of the artsy photography.
Yeah, some folks would like to call it fine art or something like that, but yeah, I've been doing that probably all 30 years. I started out as journalism back in high school, and then, always had an interest in nature photography, so that's what I'm doing now. And
okay.
So we're leaning more towards that and not marketing the portrait business so much.
And now, in terms of nature photography, when you say that, do you have any particular parts of nature that you like more than any other parts?
Lately, I've been spending a lot of time shooting birds.
Really?
Photographically speaking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've been up to Ridgefield National Wildlife Refuge quite a bit, and locally as well. And so that's kind of been something that I've been spending a lot of time doing currently, but I also do other things. We just went over to Eastern Oregon to Malheur and spent a lot of time over there shooting the birds over there. So
I see. Let me just ask you this question then. In terms of, shooting wildlife, birds or any other kind of an animal, so kind of what makes what you do different from National Geographic, or is it sort of the same thing?
it's a lot less professional.
Well, no, that's not what I mean.
I understand what you're saying. It's very similar. A lot of the pieces that I'm doing now, my progression and skills have advanced pretty rapidly over the last couple of years, so I'm getting kind of to that level. So some of my images, the difference between, let's say, the average shooter and what I'm doing is, one is I've improved my equipment, which always helps, so that I don't have to stress the wildlife as much. I can be farther away.
Oh, I see, with like the long
Exactly.
lens
yeah,
or whatever.
The big lens sticking out of the car that everybody looks at. So, so I can be farther away to photograph the birds and the wildlife. So.
Okay, and is that less stressful because then you probably you can catch them in repose more often?
It would be great if it worked that way all the time, but especially with birds, because birds move so much. So a lot of it is just doing it for a couple of years now. I kind of know how to anticipate where the birds are going to move.
Okay.
This is a great egret. This was up at Ridgefield fishing, and so obviously that was a well-timed shot of getting him with whatever that fish thing there is.
That's beautiful.
And a good reflection. It's knowing, it's all the basics of photography taken to the nth level of knowing your light, knowing what your subject matter is going to be doing. Because like for the egret shot, knowing when he's fishing, when he's going to pull up, the timing of this, of having his beak open with the prey hanging in there. Yeah,
right.
Because unlike us,
The money shot.
Yes, exactly. Well, unlike ourselves, where we can use our own paws and shovel food into our mouths, birds don't have that, so they actually have to do this ratcheting, flip it back into the back of their gullet kind of action, and so having the ability to catch that is
That's amazing.
kind of helps.
So you like birds? I mean, I guess I was thinking of, some people are into forest things, or some people are into seascapes, and so you're leaning toward.
I don't have any specific. I mean, that's what I've been really concentrating on lately because it has my interest right now. But I don't really have a specific interest in. That's why I sort of call it broad nature.
Okay.
Some people would say wildlife. Well, yeah, but I do more than that because there are some images we'll be seeing that are there's a forest scene, there's an ocean scene, flowers and birds. So
you don't really want to limit yourself.
No, yeah. I enjoy it too much, and it's really rather seasonal as well. Different seasons create different subject matter, and sometimes the bird opportunities aren't there because they're not here.
Right, exactly.
And rather than right now, currently, go where they are.
Following the migratory patterns.
Exactly, yeah, which I would love to be able to do, but, the thought of living in a van for a while is really not that attractive
Yeah,
to me,
I
so,
kind of know what you mean.
yeah.
So once you have an image, then do you spend a lot of time sort of manipulating that?
I don't, because I shoot virtually the same way for everything. And that
Okay.
includes, actually, interestingly enough, includes portraiture that I do. I shoot a certain style. I use Photoshop to optimize the images. And I have an action that I run, which is basically a series of steps that I've recorded. And it's just simply push a button, and it runs it on there, and it's pretty fast.
Okay. So then you take whatever you've captured, do a few things that you pretty much do to every picture just to improve like the
Right.
clarity, I'm assuming, and
Yeah, and
bright and
bump the
contrast
saturation a little bit, yeah.
and
To
then
help recreate either what I saw while I was there or what I saw in my mind when I shot the image, because sometimes you see something that's obviously a lot different or more romantic of what the subject matter is than what you actually capture. So
it's so interesting with photography because there are so many good photographers, obviously. Yesterday I was reading this magazine and it was about visually arresting blogs. So how to bump up your blog and
Right.
and make it look really good. And I thought about and I was looking at the different styles of what people do. And some people they'll photograph their own artwork.
Right.
Whatever style that happens to be, and then some people sort of lean more heavily just into taking pictures and popping those up. And I thought, I guess that's such a emerging market, probably for people, for photographers.
well, and it's actually, the equipment is getting so much better, and Photoshop, is almost push button now, where you take a picture and they're blown out because of the flash. Their faces are really bright. You can punch a button and, oh, look, they look great, and suddenly
Right.
they have more makeup than they had before, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, as we progress with our technology, it becomes really easy push button stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so this is one of the ocean images. This was taken down at Cape Kiwanda
It's
State
beautiful.
Park. It's, I think, a 30-second exposure
Okay.
at dusk. So it gives you that sort of ethereal feel. The water's kind of milky and that kind of stuff. So
Really
again,
sort of dreamy.
yeah. So again, it's kind of not a bird. I don't think there's a bird in there anywhere. So
So when you say the 30-second exposure, I guess I'm thinking of, the typical picture that you take is like something of a second exposure, right? Really fast.
fractional, yeah.
So how do you, when you say a 30-second exposure, that just means that the eye is open that much longer?
Yeah, your lens is open for 30 seconds. So that allows all that movement to become fluid.
Part of the picture.
Right. So
Do
the
you
waves.
do that on a tripod, or
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it would be hard to?
Yeah. Believe me, I'm not that steady. No, that was done on
Okay.
a tripod.
Okay.
And usually I will back away. The interesting thing, that was taken right on the edge of the water. So as every wave came in, if you've ever stood on the edge of the waves, you'll notice that you become shorter and shorter as time goes by. That was a concern because for a couple of the images, the camera legs or the tripod legs were sinking into the sand. So I had to watch that because I didn't really want it to take a nosedive in the ocean.
Yeah, you don't really want to grab the whole thing
Yeah.
because that'll jerk it some more. But don't want to lose your equipment either. So
Exactly.
okay. Well, I guess you and your wife have probably had a lot of fun
Yeah.
traveling, going around, just
Yeah.
finding picture spots.
Yeah, we unfortunately nowadays, that's what we spend a lot of our time doing, is planning where to go to photograph. Most folks go to where to go to have fun. Well, that's our fun. So that's what we do.
Well, that's okay. Now, you want to talk a little bit about your camera club?
Absolutely. The Yamhill Valley Camera Club, we meet here in McMinnville twice a month, and we have ranges of skills all the way from novices to professionals. We have a couple professionals that are members.
Really?
One of the great things about this, and one of the reasons that I've been involved for so long, is this is probably the best gathering of people as far as being nice.
Really?
They're
Okay.
very willing to share what they know about photography. We're not judgmental in the negative sense of it. We certainly do judge each other's work, but that's,
Maybe more of a professional critique.
well, it is. It's more of a critique than a wow,
You did that wrong.
Yeah, wow, that you took that and you brought it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do the first meeting in our month, which is the second Tuesday of the month, is what we call our business and/or competition, and we do have an interclub competition. And we
Okay.
also are a member of what's called the 4Cs, which is the Columbia Council of Camera Clubs, and it's a larger regional organization which includes some of Southwest Washington and all of Oregon. and I think there's around 18, 19 clubs involved in that.
Nice.
Yeah, so we compete in the club level, and we judge our own images, and then we send the winners on to the regional level that get grouped in with photographers from all around the area.
So at some point during the year, are there regional get-togethers?
We do. Every fall we have a conference, a fall conference, and then they put on field trips and
I bet that's fun.
It really kind of
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And on our club, not as on a grand scale, but we do field trips once a month. We try to at least have once a month field trip, and then we encourage our members, if they're thinking of going out and shooting somewhere, post it to the website, and then anybody who wants to join them can hook up and connect, and they can, it's typically a lot more fun to shoot with somebody else.
Okay, and why is that?
Because
Somebody to talk to?
it's the fellowship, it's just like anything, any interest you have, it's always nice to talk with somebody else about that interest, and you can take it certainly to the geek level, but
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we have those. I'm one. But it's really just kind of nice having somebody else to shoot with, to see the different perspectives and just kind of enjoy the day, and then you do the after game quarterbacking where you talk about what you saw. You may not have been together the whole time, but did you see this, or did you shoot that, or yeah, I shot that, and then you compare images, and we like to bring those images back to the club and show everybody else what they missed.
I think I can kind of see that a lot of times, like when you take a drawing class, I always think about, because I haven't really taken very many drawing classes, but the one famous one I took with the milk jugs. The 3 milk jugs,
Yeah.
and they're painted some funky color, and you're supposed to do it for the perspective,
Right.
and the shadows and the way that all works out. But of course, when people are positioned all the way around the room, everybody's take on the milk jugs is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting when you think about like a club going out on a field trip, and people are just out in wherever you're going to go, a place, and what you choose to take photographs of as opposed to what the other people choose to do, and I think that's so interesting. Yeah,
Well,
that's
and
fun.
it's also spatial. You're not going to take the same picture I am, because I'm a pretty big guy, and I'm going to be standing in your way if you try to shoot my picture, right? So you have to at least be over here. And sometimes 2 feet makes all the difference in the world to get a good shot. One of the things we talk about, and one of the things that we always tell our members is look behind you when you're hiking, because some of the great shots are behind you.
Yeah.
This was this past spring when we had a fortunate sunny day. I don't even remember when that was. But it was a tulip in the neighbor's yard. And so,
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And the preceding one was a few years ago when I'd never seen hoarfrost like that here in Oregon.
Oh, okay,
It's
yeah.
spiny frost. And so that was a sundial out in our front yard.
Hey, now remember the other night when we had all that thunder and lightning?
Yes.
Did you get out there?
I did not.
You didn't?
No, I was at a
Under the
family
bed?
gathering, and no,
Hiding?
I love it, 'cause we don't
Oh.
get that here.
Okay.
I'm from Oregon.
Okay.
This is up at Ridgefield as well. This is a Pacific tree frog.
Okay.
And these guys are right about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long, and they hide down in these plants.
I'm really afraid of frogs.
Are you
It's
really?
kind of a funny thing. And yesterday, my grandson told me that there was a frog in their garage, and I was like, oh my God, can you even imagine?
Yeah.
But here you are, out there taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Well, you wouldn't like going there because there's also a lot of stinging nettles around where I came home from this trip with the backs of my legs just stinging in pain all the way home.
Even though you wore heavy pants in the woods, right?
No,
You wore shorts.
I did.
Oh well.
Yeah, I wear shorts a lot, so yeah, that's my thing.